Right. Everybody should be free to speak now, and all of the newcomers should not be muted. So here we go. Your token is Mooncake, and I am super excited to learn about this. The first thing I noticed is that you only had 3.3% total transactions or transaction taxes. That's incredible. What made you go so low?
Yeah. I mean, basically, we don't believe in tokens with really high negative EV. So, like, the higher the tax on a token, uh, whatever it is, you're going to have to pay double the tax to get into and out of the token. So, if there's a 10 or 15 or 20% tax, like, you have to purchase that token and you have to hold it for a 20% or 50% price increase before you can sell with the ability to make money. So we wanted to encourage the ability for people to swing trade the token if possible. 1% of every transaction goes to the oven. So we reasoned that long term, getting people to make numerous transactions to add value to the oven versus like individual buys and holds means that each individual participant in the ecosystem will add value to the oven multiple times as they transact the token. So we just determined that it's enough based on the volume. So
I like that. Um, you did mention the Mooncake Oven, and we do have a lot of people in here that won't know what that is, even though I have done my research. Can you go ahead and tell them what that is all about?
yeah, so basically, we noticed that there started to be like a fad. I think it probably didn't start with Safe Moon, but that was big. People call it, percentage of the transaction fee goes to liquidity. So, like mathematically, the only thing that's occurring there is that more of the native token is basically being stuffed into the LP because it's being sold against the LP initially. So there's no new liquidity introduced to the ecosystem. So to fix that, what we did was create a smart contract that essentially receives 1% of all transaction fees. It sells that transaction fee for cake, and then deposits cake in the syrup staking pool to earn more cake. And then what we do is we use 50% of the rewards from the syrup pool to buy back and burn our native token. And the other 50% of the rewards are compounded back into the syrup pool. So regardless of whether or not there's volume on the token, our total cake holdings are growing on a daily basis. And then that means that the amount of cake that we harvest as a reward grows on a daily basis as well. And we use that to consistently buy back and burn the token and increase the size of the buybacks and burns. So that's essentially the Mooncake Oven contract. Yeah. And so it provides a consistent and ever increasing supply of liquidity and buybacks and burns for our token Mooncake.
I like that, and it's automatic and it doesn't depend upon the traction volume, which I really, really like as well. That
Yeah,
was
and
that was pretty
I think
awesome.
I think we have like 28,000 cakes staked in the oven right now. So
Hell yeah.
we're we're
When
I
did you
think
guys
probably
launch?
we launched about 4 weeks ago on the 11th, 4.5 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, the 11th of July was
July.
our launch date.
Awesome.
And in the last 4 weeks, we've accumulated a total of roughly 28,000 cake in the oven. So
That's amazing.
we're in the top 1% of cake holders and stakers as a protocol right now. So
That's awesome. I love to see it. Um, your GitHub, which I really enjoyed reading, by the way, it said the first long-term revolutionary project launched by the Moonbase. Um, who is the Moonbase? Is it just you or your whole team?
yeah, so we've got a team. We have like a full business admin and marketing stack as well as a comprehensive dev stack. So I think total, maybe one of my teammates will actually text me. I think we have maybe 20 people on the team right now, including community members, community moderators and international mods. So we have a good team. I think our dev stack is a total of like 7 in-house developers right now, as well as our lead dev, who's a senior dev at MetaMask for the last 3 years, and
Very
we
nice.
have additional 6 in-house devs which are led by him, and then like a couple of subcontractors that we go to for, you know, certain parts of the art, video content, things like that. So
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. So, aside from obviously the reflections and the mooncake oven, it says this 0.3% is for your founder reflections. That's MoonTix folders?
yeah, so one issue that I noticed is that, you know, projects either launch with a pre-sale or a fair launch. Um, Both result in two issues. A fair launch results in, you know, a highly pyramidal effect to the launch and purchase of the token, and a pre-sale ends up with too large of a percentage distributed as supply early on at a very low price. So we came up with the concept of MOONTIX. So MOONTIX is basically the governance token of our ecosystem. There's no liquidity pool for MOONTIX. Holding a MOONTIX entitles you to receive a pro rata distribution based on the number of MOONTIX you hold. Of that 0.3% reflect airdrop to you on a bi-weekly basis. So there are 500 tokens that allow people to receive a percentage of that 0.3% reflect. And that allowed us to essentially vest our pre-salers rewards over time. So the pre-sale actually occurred at 37 times the listing price. The pre-sale for MOONTIX was significantly higher than the listing or launch price of Mooncake. And those holders, I think some people have accumulated as many as like 18 MOONTIX at this point. So they're happy with the reflect and rewards that they get over time. And I think there's the MOONTIX themselves are selling for about 10 times what they were originally sold for at this point. So
Yeah, I really, I actually did. I love almost every idea about your project. I'm sorry. You're going to hear that a lot out of me tonight. But I love the idea of your MoonTix and specifically, oh no, I've lost it because the kids distracted me. I'm sorry about that.
it's all good. I mean, we're pretty confident in our concepts. We have a whole bunch. I just talked last night to a project that we're going to partner with to use their SDK for our NFT based game. We're launching some asset backed NFT contracts that will effectively be NFTs that have a built in price floor. So you'll be able to burn
Ooh,
them and redeem a certain amount of the minting fee at any time. And those minting fees will be used to effectively like generate liquidity for the oven to increase the size and scale of buybacks and burns. So, you know, we have a lot in the works. We're launching Oven V2, which allows us to stake LP tokens for partner farms. And yeah, we've been focused on essentially just continuing to build. Obviously, the project on its own function is a complete and functioning ecosystem. I believe that we have the first like actual, what I would call actual automatic liquidity generation. So we essentially are introducing new liquidity and burning supply on a daily basis. In addition, we have the Mid-Autumn Festival, which we will be actually doing a test oven, a test burn from our oven. So we're going to be buying back and burning almost $100,000 worth of mooncake in the near future. But then when the Mid-Autumn Festival actually happens, 88% of the cake in the oven, which, like I said, is about $600,000 right now, will be removed from the oven and used to buy back and burn mooncake from circulation permanently, which will then, start the cycle of refilling the balance of the oven again. So on the horizon at the current balance of the oven, there's about a $450 buyback, $450,000 buyback and burn coming up in the next few weeks. So
very nice.
yeah,
Those are high numbers. I
yeah. I
did
mean, it's
remember.
go ahead.
Oh, okay, good, because I really wanted to ask this. I'm so sorry. What is up with this golden ticket? Me and Kira really love Willy Wonka, and we just noticed you had a golden ticket for your MOONTIX. Has anybody claimed that yet? What was that about?
Yeah, so actually, like a pro bono lawyer out of Detroit, I guess, won the ticket. It was the first crypto project that he ever went into, and so
That is some good karma.
he got the golden ticket. He got 60,000 mooncake, and so his one BNB airdrop today is worth approximately $6,000. So
That's awesome.
he did well from his airdrop, and I'm sure he was very excited when he found out that
Yeah,
happened. So, and then of
no
course
kidding.
has a MOONTIX, so has actually gotten airdrop. Still two more times, an additional probably
Because you can have,
2,000 mooncake. So
yeah, nice. And you can have up to 500 of those tickets, right? Or only 500 were
well,
available.
there are only 500 in circulation, so you can. I mean, theoretically, yes, one individual could collect 100% of the MOONTIX supply, and if one person did, then they would receive 0.3% of all of the reflect in the ecosystem. So I'm sure there are people who like have that in mind, which is like, oh, I'm going to get all of the MOONTIX, and then that's their
I swear
that's
that
their
would be
earning
my
strategy.
mindset. That's awesome. I also noticed that you guys have four contracts here. You, which one goes to which one here?
You said
You
four
got the
contracts,
token?
yes. So we have
Yeah.
one is the locked liquidity, one is the token, and one is a burn multi-sig, which was deprecated due to finance gnosis deprecating their multi-sig. So those tokens have just been moved into a secondary dev wallet until we're ready to burn them. And then there is, of course, the ovens contract. And so the oven, you can check the oven smart contract. You can see the balance of syrup in the oven, and you can see mooncake periodically being transferred into the oven to be prepared to be sold for cake. So, yeah, that's the two core function. The two core contracts are, of course, the token contract and the ovens contract. So.
Nice, nice. I just wanted you to explain that for any onlookers who were possibly
Yeah,
looking
sure.
into you guys right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, where you said basically the one goal was to get into your NFTs and stuff, and that you were a part of a bigger ecosystem and you were looking to expand it. Do you plan on adding more tokens to your ecosystem, or what's your
So
long-term goal for the whole ecosystem
there
as
is always the potential. We have partner projects, so we're actually licensing the code for a group of trusted devs that we've worked with to launch a version on Polygon, which will also benefit MOONTIX holders. And then we have other members of our team who have their own projects that are in development that will of course, benefit MOONTIX and mooncake holders as well. So have an opportunity to get in those early, or if you're a MOONTIX holder, to receive some type of vested reward from those projects as well. So, and actually, if you could unmute, our dev is actually here. Et, our senior dev, is actually in the room. Maybe you can unmute him so that he can
Yeah,
speak
sorry, I didn't even
as
see these
well.
people down here. Why
Yeah, no,
why
it's
is
all good.
everybody
Et,
muted? That's
his name is
awful.
Et, so you can unmute him and he can jump in as well.
Hey bro,
Awesome.
your voice sounds really weird, man. And
All
lady, your
right,
My
voice
you
voice
sounds
are
really
does?
unmuted.
sexy.
Oh god, thanks.
How's it going? Just thought I would drop in and see how the AMA is going.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Et? So this is our lead dev, this is Et. Maybe you want to introduce yourself, Et? Just give people some of your
ET phone
development
home.
background, tell people about the team a little bit more.
ET phone home, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so I met Hollow a few months ago, and the whole concept behind Mooncake was Hollow's idea. And I guess throughout the course of a little while, I kind of assumed the position of being the senior dev of this project, because it had started, but then it wasn't really getting that much traction. And so I was like, okay, I might be able to add some value here. And so what I was doing before that, and what I'm still doing, but to a lesser degree, is working for MetaMask. And I had been with them for like approximately a year and a half. And I was a full-time employee, but now I'm actually just a contractor for them. And so that leaves me like most of the time to spend working on Mooncake. And so, yeah, I've just been mostly working on Mooncake since then. And we got a lot of really cool shit coming down in the pipeline. So, yeah.
Very nice. So are you guys fully doxed or no, not yet? Or
I
not
would
going
say
to?
that
It doesn't matter to me either way.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just asking.
we're not fully doxxed. I mean, there are lots of
Yeah.
members of our community who are, who know us in real life. Like a lot of members of our
Partially
community who know us
doxed
in
is
real
the
life.
word I would say.
Yeah, we're
Because,
partially
like,
doxxed. Like
I don't use my real name on the chat or anywhere for that matter, but anybody who has a brain could easily figure out who I am. It's not really a secret.
same.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Does anybody else who's in the AMA have any questions for these guys? I think I've allowed you all to speak. So if you have questions, feel free to speak up. I'm sure that they would love to answer them. Joe? Oh, shoot. You're muted. There you go. Speak away. You can unmute them too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer them. Essentially, like if anyone who looks at the math long term, I mean, I think we've seen people. I've seen people seeing this in my DMs, and they're going like, "Well, if the oven keeps buying back and burning, and they're keeping these mid-autumn festivals, like, doesn't all of the supply disappear eventually?" And my response is, yes, all of the supply disappears eventually. So,
and I did notice you guys start out with quite a minimal supply compared to the rest of these tokens out here. You guys did a lot of things differently.
yeah, I mean, we wanted the price of the token to reflect something that was rational and understandable for people, especially if they're going to be trading it. Like having these tokens that have like the max supply allowed by an ERC20 token means that it's just optically very difficult to understand how your token is changing in value. So, I mean, that has one advantage in that, like, it's obscured to people who get in as early holders. There's this whole concept of dropping zeros, but I really prefer to be able to just like look at the price of a token that I'm holding and go, oh, okay, it went from 1 cent to 5 cents. It went from 10 cents to 12 cents, and be able to rationally do the math simply in my head to understand where my portfolio's position is. So that was our rationale behind picking the lower supply, and also that like it becomes very easy to see how supply shock can occur when the oven is buying back and burning close to 500,000 mooncake a month, right? So there are only about 55 million mooncake wherever in circulating supply, and at 500,000 a month, every every 10 months we burn 10% of the initial circulating supply. So
I like that. That's actually very genius. You guys were very smart going about it like that. I can't tell if Joe wants to talk or if he just keeps hitting the microphone. 1 second.
What's good? What's good?
hey Joe, how's it going, man?
He did want to talk. It got squeaky there. Sorry, I had to mute you for a second.
I'm wondering if anybody needs a pet promotion.
Lit. I mean, yeah, I mean, we have a full marketing team, so you're free to reach out to them and show us what you can do. But I mean, we're okay. We have like full paid advertising with like like all the back end integration APIs to be able to like track people and do lookalike audiences and everything like that. So that all just rolled out this week. And we're working on integrating a couple more APIs that'll allow us to target and retarget the correct audiences more effectively. But yeah, you're welcome to reach out to one of our marketing team and show us what you've got.
All right, thank you.
That question actually does bring me around to, I just realized you guys don't have a tax for a marketing wallet. So what do you do for a marketing wallet? That's interesting.
So we have 2.5% of the supply was allocated for marketing and bug bounties, and we've yet to actually tap any of that supply. We are going to be doing an airdrop soon, so we will use some of that for an airdrop, but as of now, like project has just been funded from the dev team and in-house and tokens that we personally acquired on launch. So
that's awesome and very, very ballsy. I'm actually in a project myself that is funding the marketing from their pocket, and wow, the marketing funds are incredible.
Ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, we're not really concerned about it because we essentially believe that like ultimately what will grow our project is just like attrition over time. Like we will slowly gain, slowly and organically gain new holders. Like up until this point, like our growth has been essentially 100% organic and word of mouth. So yeah,
That's awesome.
we basically just know that like our project is mathematically sound. And that as long as there is inflation from the pancake swap syrup pools, that our token will continue to deflate in supply and number go up. So we're basically just confident that over time we continue to grow holders and the price floor continues to grow. So
that's definitely the long-term goal. You mentioned, do you guys have any like giveaways and contests going on? You mentioned an airdrop. What does that entail?
Yeah, so we're just gonna be doing an airdrop just to get a little bit more organic growth and get the word about the project out. I mean, we've been since we launched, we basically started a wave and trend of like copycats and forks. So I'm not going to name them by name, but it became kind of like the hot trend to launch some type of token that use like cake as a reward. I guess the core difference and like the meta defining meme of our token is that we don't just tax people and then give that reward essentially to people who got in earlier. We create an adverse incentive so that if you buy in, you don't actually get the full benefit of the tax on the tax that you paid on the token unless you stay and hold until the Mid-Autumn Festival. So it kind of creates that incentive, and anyone who purchases the token before any of the large buybacks and burns from the oven is effectively guaranteed to have gains upon that burn. So I think there's someone in our group who did the calculation and basically said like even if the token goes all the way back to the lowest that the token can go at this point, if every single holder sold, would still be above the listing price, because we also when we first added liquidity, we employed something called a salmonella attack. So for the first 2 hours, there was essentially a 90% tax on all purchases that cause like the botnets that roll in when you add liquidity to a new token and like buy up a large percentage of the supply to effectively like give up their liquidity to the protocol. So
very nice.
So our token can never return to its launch price, even if every single holder sells, right? So, and then if that were to happen, when the oven were to buy back and burn, I think someone said that the token would still hit about 14 cents right now. So
nice. I aped in on research upon doing my research. I was very pleased with what I was reading. So
bullish.
I love doing my research. I wish more people would, I swear. So when exactly do you guys have a date for your Mid-Autumn Festival, or
Yeah,
is it
so
just Mid-Autumn?
the Mid Autumn Festival will start the week of September 21st, and there will be a series of buybacks and burns during that week. So the buybacks and burns will be randomized. So to prevent people from being able to just like directly front run the transactions. And
Is that
yeah, that's when it'll occur, is during Golden Week. So we'll have a bunch of
us?
giveaways and buybacks and burns during that time.
First of all, that's awesome. I'm from the middle of nowhere, so anything that is even remotely like a Mid-Autumn Festival, I'm like, I'm there. But
Cool.
second, you guys picked the middle of September, and September is like notoriously the worst month for crypto going back like the last 5 years. I cannot wait to see what you guys do for the month of September for 2021 crypto. That'll be way interesting. I just
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
mean, I
really
think
how many people look at those statistics, but I definitely do.
yeah, I think we've really like structured things. We launched at basically like we launched almost at the exact bottom of the market, and that was intentional. We have like a lot of the people on our team are very competent traders and liquidity providers. So we got things rolled out and got launched right at the bottom. And we're kind of aware of that bearish tendency in September, and create an incentive for people to pile into our token during that month and make us an outlier, in terms of, how just sort of like some of the interface like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap work and stuff like that will allow us to like appear as a top gainer during the month of September, right? So
I like that, and I actually had wondered if you guys knew about those statistics or not. Not like I said, not a lot of people do. There's a lot of people new to crypto, including me. I came in with SafeMoon. SafeMoon brought in a huge wave. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been BTC since 2011, so
yeah, no, I totally missed that whole freaking train completely. So this is all very exciting for me, but I can't say that I've ever seen a contract quite like yours in the history of anything. And there's a lot of tokens out there right now that are boasting that they're going to be the biggest thing of the year. But looking at your contract, I think the biggest thing of the year has already launched. This thing is crazy.
yeah, we're kind of like happy with just being in sleeping giant phase right now. It's like we're a month after launch, and I basically have like pointed to a number of the projects that I was in and just said, like, if you look at our chart, and compare it with like any other quote unquote like meme coin or shit coin chart, you can just see that like after a month, very few of them without just like massive marketing spend, are able to generate like a consistent, upward momentum and support and trajectory for their price. So I'm very, very confident about our trajectory and like the development process. And I mean, especially our community, like we just have a lot of like very, very intelligent holders who understand like where the math takes us on this token as we continue to grow. So
I like that. Is your community pretty active in your telly, you'd say?
yeah, our community is pretty active in the Telegram, and then we have like a couple of other communities where we just like do a lot of general market sentiment and like fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So our community is pretty robust and active, not only in the Mooncake chat, but like a couple other rooms that we have where we just drop alpha all the time. And I think like a lot of the Mooncakers who are here in the room, like people who are already holders, would say that like if you spend time in the Mooncake voice chats, like there's a good chance that like a huge amount of alpha just on the marketplace itself gets dropped on you. So like I know that a lot of Mooncake holders, they've been like, going through the early phase of Mooncake growth, have like gotten a lot of gains just hanging out in VC with us and like being aware of other projects that people who are like our friends and relationships in the space are dropping as well. So
That's exciting for you guys all around. I don't personally have any more questions. Like I said, as soon as I started looking at you guys, I did some hardcore research before aping in. But if anybody else in here has any other questions for them, I'm sure that they would love to answer you guys.
Yeah, we're. I mean, like we have an open door. You know, we've got a big team, and we like to get questions answered as fast as possible. And then also, just like I think one of the biggest things is just to understand that like we take a huge amount of input and work as well as possible to respond to our community and what they desire for the project, right? So we look to our community for feedback and input on a daily basis, and then do our best to like rapidly respond to our community sentiment and the things that they want to see built and acted on. So that's I think one of the things that sets us apart is like we don't, as the developers, we don't feel like we have a monopoly on intelligence or innovation, and we're constantly like looking to our community to sharpen our own saw, so to speak, or sharpen our own axe, to just like provide more of what the community is looking for in terms of like marketing and development and the utilities that we release.
So you definitely involve them a lot. Do you pull them for their decisions, or do you just ask them outright?
Yeah, so we pull MOONTIX holders and the founders group, and then of course like look for a general consensus from the holders at large. But like anything has to be proposed by a MOONTIX holder first, and then voted on by MOONTIX holders, and then if that's approved, we'll bring it to the general holders. And so long as they don't veto it, then those proposals will be passed and acted on. So
That's awesome. It's like a Knights of the Round Table thing you got going on. I like it.
yeah. So yeah, if there are any more questions from the audience?
Yeah, hi guys. I have one or two questions, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. What's up, Opus?
You were talking about partnerships there earlier. I'm just wondering, is there any idea what those partnerships are for us, just to give us a sneak peek?
I was personally like, I was one of the first 50 cake holders. I was one of the first 4 jet fuel holders. So initially, like, the first partnership that we'll probably launch of the farm is with jet fuel. We've already discussed with Myro, and he's ready to go like as soon as the oven is done. And then with regards to like Ape Swap and Pancake Swap, there's just like they're going to want to like look at the code when we verify the code base after launching Oven V2. So those are the initial partnerships that are on the horizon. And then of course, like I just talked to, actually ET, I haven't even told you this yet, but and Opus, can you mute yourself, bro? So ET, I didn't even tell you this yet because we haven't talked since last night, but I also talked to one of our friends who's the founder of a gamified and NFT marketplace framework that has a comprehensive SDK. So we'll probably be doing a partnership with them for our NFT game. So we have a number of partnerships, and we're open always to other partnerships with other protocols as long as we see them as mutually beneficial and ultimately like of advantage to our holders. So yeah, we have a lot of relationships in the space. Like I mentioned, there's also a dev stack that's going to be doing a licensing project to launch the project on Polygon. So yeah, that's what's going on with partnerships.
That's really cool. Thank you. I just have one other question then as well. I know that the dev is there. It's I see a lot. I'm in a lot of different groups, and I see a lot of the crypto community getting hurt by different copycats and different forks. I was just wondering, is this project forked or copied, or what's the background to it?
You want to answer that, ET?
Yeah. So this project was built on an existing project's foundation, and the name of that project is RFI. So it's essentially like, you could argue that it is an adapted RFI fork in a sense. So like I took the RFI code base and I basically just raked it. I tore it apart. I made some modifications. I adapted it to suit our needs. And I also I commented out the whole thing and made sure that it was actually understandable. And so it's basically like, it's like a modified, adapted RFI based project. And for those of you who don't know what RFI is Reflect Finance. It was the original project to implement a Reflect token. So yeah, so that was the token contract.
He looked at Reflect and then rewrote the entire token contract. It uses the same type of functions to accomplish to accomplish what's done, but he wrote the entire contract from scratch. So.
And so that's the token contract. And as for the oven contract, that was written completely from scratch, zero forking.
That's amazing. Genius skills.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
I tried coding at one point in time, and I can't code worth a shit. So I really applaud you. That was super difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. And then not only do you have to write the code itself, but you also have to test it. And you have to test it until you can't test it anymore, which is never. So actually you have to keep testing it. And then even when it's released, you still have to test it because there could be some sort of hidden vulnerability that you didn't consider. Not saying that there is, but that's just the nature of software development. There's always the potential for there to be some leak or some hole that you didn't anticipate, no matter how much testing you do. So it's kind of a never-ending wheel of just developing, testing, iterating, getting feedback, developing, pushing a new version. It's like a thing that just never ends, but it's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, I know all about that test life. I definitely passed the coding off to my friend, and he's been testing contracts for months on end now. He thought it was going to be easy too. Surprise, surprise, it is definitely not. So kudos to you. It is not an easy life.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to see kind of all the reactions of community members in the chat that say, oh, development is taking so long, or just people in general that, like to complain and like to say that things are taking a very long time. It's well, yeah, things are taking a very long time. And it's almost like that on purpose, because if I were to release some code that was half-baked, right? I mean, that's okay, 0-day vulnerability is a possibility in that situation, meaning that some sort of vulnerability could show up or show itself, and we would have 0 days to correct it, and then everybody's money could be rubbed potentially. So just as a response to whenever people ask, why is this stuff taking so long? It's taking so long because otherwise it would be an incomplete product, and I don't feel comfortable shipping incomplete stuff. That's it.
For sure, and a lot of respect for that, quite honestly. I mean, I don't want to invest into an incomplete contract. That would suck for me on my end, for sure.
Yeah, and especially because there's so many people who invest in these projects and they can't even read or write code. Most people who invest in these projects can't read or write code. So it's a lot of the due diligence is being done mostly for this type of demographic and these types of people who put all of their trust into the people who make the project because they know the people. It's all about the people, right? Because they can't just go out on their own and say, oh, I want to read the contract code and think they're going to understand it. So it's they have no choice almost but to trust the people who built it and the people who are, consistently putting the effort day by day to make it better and to make it more secure.
For sure, for sure. Yep, like I've said, I've watched my friends, like he didn't have a high grade or a high-end laptop, and I did. So I downloaded all the software he needed, and just watching him do it over and over again, I looked at the codes and I was like, I don't even want to learn what they mean. Nope, I'm out. I'll just I'll just be the investor and you can be the coder. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
really commend you guys for dealing with all that. That's crazy. And then you have to turn around and you have to talk to your community and keep them hyped and constantly pay attention to them. So it's not an easy job for you. I really
yeah.
commend you guys.
So I mean, that's been a big process in our first month is just like building up comms and strategies and SOPs for our internal team, and like with a new project, getting a team of 20 plus people running smoothly takes a little bit of time initially, but now that everything is just like is getting streamlined, it gives us the actual framework and team that we need for the project to be able to scale to a larger size, right? Like ultimately projects I think falter at a certain scale of growth because they're forced later on to grow and train their team, and deal with oncoming holders rather than building that in during the first month and taking the time to actually build those SOPs and strategies for growth. So that's been a big part of what we've been doing during the first month, as ET sort of handles all of the back end and front end dev work, is just like focusing on streamlining our team so that we're built out and ready for the type of growth that we believe this token is going to experience over the next few months. So, like I said, there's a conservative $450,000 buyback and burn on the horizon here in probably the next 5 weeks. So,
and that's contingent on volume too. Like if for some reason the volume, goes up a lot in between now and then, that number could significantly be larger.
Right. So providing that our marketing efforts are successful, an additional 100 million in volume will mean that buyback and burn will go from being $450,000 to being, roughly $1.2 million in buybacks and burns. So
That is exciting for me in more ways than one, quite honestly,
yeah.
like I said.
Yeah, and
I've already
so
met
I
you
mean,
guys. I'm sold.
so imagine like what a $1.2 million buyback and burn means for price impact. I don't know if anyone is at their Pancake ET. Can you look on PancakeSwap and see like what 1.2 million in buyback and burns would cause in terms of price impact?
Just a sec.
So he'll calculate the price impact right now, and we'll be able to see like kind of what the ROI, and then he'll calculate what the existing holdings of the oven will be as well.
Awesome.
So, I mean, it's easy to sort of see that, to check the balance of the oven, and then at any time, just kind of go to PancakeSwap, plug in what 88% of the oven looks like in terms of market orders, and, see that that's a buyback and a permanent burn, and sort of calculate that slippage and understand kind of what the oncoming price impact to the token is. And that also sort of tells you, like, provided people just started selling, how far the token could fall in price, where no matter what, you'll end up positive. So
1.2 million in added buy pressure would cause around a 69% price increase, 69% difference. And
nice.
So yeah, and so like one other interesting thing here is that, even if in the worst case scenario where, okay, all these buybacks and burns are happening and nobody buys on top of them, just as an example, even if nobody were to buy on top of them and everybody just used all of that for exit liquidity, just the sheer fact that there's volume, that's pumping the oven for the following year. And like if nobody does anything, even for that whole year, there's still going to be like a significant amount of cake piling up in the oven for the following year. So yeah.
Okay, that sounds like it's starting to speak to the question that I had, which is that I'm so tired of pump and dump Moon tokens. Just have a life cycle of like a month or 2 months. And really, as an investor in the project, I have a short window of opportunity of making good profit from it. Can you help me understand how Mooncake is different than just these other Moon tokens that work like that? What's the life cycle of this thing?
I would say that the life cycle of this project could be years. I mean, it depends a lot on volume to a certain extent, but it's like this project is going to live on until all the Mooncake tokens are gone, basically, until all of them are burned, or until the supply reaches, so close to zero that it's like, yeah, it's kind of like Bitcoin in that sense. It has like that reverse logarithmic deflationary curve. It's very similar, and so this project is going to live on and on and on and on years, until until the Mooncake balance just converges practically to zero. When that is, like, I have no idea. Depends partially on volume. But every year, there's going to be that Mid-Autumn Festival of buybacks and burns. And in the meantime, between those events, there's at least bi-daily / daily buybacks and burns as well. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
I like the way you guys explain things. You're very thorough.
Yeah, thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions?
And that's one point that I really want to drive home about this project, is that, like, even if everybody were to just dump right now, the project would still have life. It would just accumulate over time, slowly but surely. And then, like, even if everybody were to just drop it and completely forget about it, come the next year's Mid-Autumn Festival, once people start remembering about it, it'll be like hype all over again, because it's had all this time to accumulate.
It's almost, if you're the last man standing, you pretty much own all the oven's profits.
That would be insanity. I would enjoy it so much. Stop giving me ideas, guys.
Yeah, and so this project really does a good job at rewarding long-term investors. It's algorithmically, I don't like using the word guaranteed, but it's algorithmically sound in the fact that it rewards long-term investors over years. Months, probably, years, surely.
That's definitely awesome, for sure. I like that. So I would say that you guys are definitely the first of your kind entirely. I don't think that I've ever seen anything quite like you. Is there anything that, is not completely new?
And I'm back. You got the question okay, Easy?
Definitely not
Anything
seeing
that is
anything
not
that's completely original to you guys, which is amazing. I love it. Even the Mid-Autumn Festival, right?
Yeah. So the only concept that isn't original from us is the reflect concept. So the fact that every token transfer sends a small percentage to all holders. That is the only concept in our entire project that is not original, that has been taken from an existing project.
And you guys even kept that modest as hell. So I applaud you. You guys did a very good job with this token. And I really hope I see you guys moon as hell.
Algorithmically probable.
I like that. I'm sorry, Jason Derulo immediately just in my brain said talk nerdy to me. So that's why I laughed so hard.
Fucking math nerds. Gotta love them.
So I have a question in regards to the MOONTIX function. I'm sorry if this has already been asked. I have just joined, but let's say you're a MOONTIX owner, and the obvious draw to that would be the 0.3% of reflection spread across the 500 holders who actually own the tickets. And I've also read about some sort of an NFT reward in alignment with that. If you haven't already, can you sort of go over the incentive to holding this and purchasing it aftermarket?
You mean incentive to holding MOONTIX and purchasing them aftermarket, right?
Yes.
Right. So the first benefit that we've given to MOONTIX holders, well, there was two, I guess, and that was on launch. So there was the 11,000 tokens that each MOONTIX holder received on launch, and then the 0.3% of reflections that the MOONTIX holders share on a bi-weekly basis. They're airdropped. And so currently these are the only benefits of holding MOONTIX. However, we do have a lot of interesting development, development projects that are going to add additional value to these MOONTIX. Part of our vision for this project is to really drive up the value of MOONTIX over time by feature creeping. And just to give you an example, without leaking too much, we're planning on building this game where people can spend money to play the game, like spend mooncakes or spend cake to play the game. And then a percentage of the earnings from that game are going to go directly to MOONTIX holders. So that's like one example. Yeah, that's like one example of, you know, things we want to do to up the value of MOONTIX over time. Yeah, and also we're planning on releasing this this OTC desk on the main Mooncake website where people can easily purchase and sell MOONTIX in a trustless manner. And so that's going to create another interesting dynamic, because then it's going to be sort of like an exchange where there's a history, and not that that necessarily adds any inherent or unique value to the ticket, but it does give sort of easy platform for community members to exchange them. So there's a lot of there's a lot of interesting things coming up for MOONTIX holders specifically. If I could offer one piece of advice, it would be to not sell your MOONTIX.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but MOONTIX have been out for a month or a bit more, and they launched it at a 1 BNB, and I had bought myself one, I think about 3 days ago for 8 BNB, and that's within 1 month before any burn function or like the big burn festival. So having those two separate ecosystems divergent into one, and I mean, it's not like it hurts you for not holding one if you're just like a cake holder, but having that added ecosystem for more intense investors is a really cool sign, at least in my opinion. And I can definitely see it exponentially increasing in value from months to come.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the value of MOONTIX that's present on the marketplace right now that people are trading them at, I would say is largely speculative, because we haven't added any new features for MOONTIX since we launched. So this is already an indicator that the community has a lot of trust and, you know, has a lot of forward-thinking attitudes towards the MOONTIX in a sense. And that would be smart, because of course we've got a lot of cool shit planned for MOONTIX. So even like just that sort of floor price that's being put on MOONTIX right now, that is largely speculative. Once more concrete value actually gets released for these MOONTIX, I anticipate that floor will just start to slide upwards, because then not only what will it be like speculative value based on what's coming in the future, but it will be based on the value that's actually there. And so people will prize them even more and they'll become more rare and valuable.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for answering my series of questions.
And by the way, yeah, so there's only 500 MOONTIX in circulation. There is not an ability to mint more, and there is not an ability to burn any. Well, I mean, you can burn any token just by sending it to an address that can't sign anything. You can send it to the 0 address, but there is not a mint function. To be very clear, that means no more MOONTIX ever will be added to circulation. The maximum amount of MOONTIX that will ever exist in circulation is 500. That number will never exceed 500. And MOONTIX are standard ERC20 tokens. So there is a potential in the future, if somebody was really keen, I mean, I don't know why they would, but they could add liquidity for MOONTIX, and MOONTIX could just be traded on PancakeSwap. Although, since there doesn't seem to be much benefit in doing that, we figured it would be nice to create an actual OTC desk on the site to facilitate the trustless exchange of MOONTIX.
I've got a follow-up question for you guys. Any business only succeeds if it really has at least the 2 parts of success. One is a good idea, which I've been hearing you guys talk a lot about, why this is such a good idea. And the second one is the execution, like advertising and actually getting people to buy this product. Can you talk a little bit more about the plans for promotion and advertising?
Yeah, I don't know how well you guys can hear me right now, but essentially,
You're
like
good.
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we basically we've implemented like all of the tracking APIs, and we're starting to roll out like paid advertising. Currently, we're still in the phase where we have to do like we have to build our audience. So we're basically tracking all of the hits to the website, and then building like lookalike audiences with AI tools. So like we're like tapping those like large Cambridge Analytica data sets, and using like comparative analysis to show ads for the project or the website to lookalike audiences. So essentially audiences that have the same sort of metadata signatures as our existing holders, right? So that's our general strategy for getting the word and the project out. And you so that's how we're looking at it. And then like all big projects, like I believe that like PancakeSwap didn't market a huge amount and never really does. And I think organic growth and just like adopting intelligent holders who see the potential over time is the best and most useful strategy. But of course, we're doing AMAs and pushing code, and then also like just building projects that tap different sectors of the ecosystem, right? So like utilities that facilitate some kind of like automation for stablecoin staking, utilities that offer like NFTs and gaming, so that we like tap different sectors of hype in the marketplace, that different types of investors are interested in, and kind of create something for each of the different types of crypto investors, like the person who wants the moonshot, the person who's looking for like a stable, long-term, secure position, and then also like people who are interested in NFTs and gaming. So if that answers
That's
the question.
amazing. I'm interested in all of that.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, good questions, Christian. Thank you. Also, one of our great strategies for growth is what we call the Mexican standoff strategy with some of our largest holders, which is that like I'm one of the biggest holders in a number of the projects that some of our largest holders are also large holders in. So it's like, it's basically a standing, like, I won't sell my bags if you don't sell yours type of situation,
You guys are funny. That's funny.
We're based. We're based. Like, so that's what's going on. We're excited. And yeah, I mean, like I said, one of the big developments is just like, we're building out this NFT game for the platform. And, last night I got off of a call with someone who's essentially like sprinted ahead and already built 99% of the game and provides an SDK that we can plug right into. So I think ET is going to be really excited about that and being able to, accelerate that development process.
Do you guys have any other teasers for the game? You're making me so excited. I need to know more.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like, we'll be launching the promo video that describes like how the genesis of the NFT environment will function. And let's just say that like it will be a play to earn game where you earn stable coins and you're not farming a shit coin or anything like that by playing. And then it will also have like a competitive, a player versus player element that allows people to that allows basically a lower barrier to entry for play to earn games than like where Axie has gone to now. So like if you look at the demographics, and is also like a culturally relevant gameplay environment to like the largest demographic of play to earn gamers, which is like Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. So like just providing something that's accessible for people in those demographics to play. Whereas like right now to get 3 Axies is kind of like, it's pretty pricey as a barrier to entry to a play to earn game. Like even potentially for someone in the West, like to spend like a full ETH to be able to effectively play to earn a game. Like we're going to be targeting getting people in for like a, $100 to $300 price range to be able to start playing and earning in the game. So
that's way better than 1 ETH. I do have one more question for you guys, I guess. How would, for anybody new who's coming in here, was MOONTIX only for the pre-sale, or how would people go about buying that currently?
So yeah, the absolute easiest way to buy is to interact with the PancakeSwap liquidity pool directly through the buy function on our website. So if you go to mooncake.io/buy, there is literally, we have a swap directly on our website where you can connect your MetaMask and swap from BNB directly to Mooncake. And all of the slippage and everything like that, and the gas settings to prevent front running and ensure that your transaction succeeds are all preset. So you can literally just go to mooncake.io.
Though, right?
Oh, you just ask MOONTIX, or where you can just go to buy Mooncake.
MOONTIX.
So if you want to buy a MOONTIX, you have to just get in our chat and say like looking to buy, X number of MOONTIX and like make an offer, and you'll see that like you'll see whether there are any MOONTIX holders who are like willing to let go of any of their MOONTIX, if that makes sense.
Okay, so all 500 are definitely currently bought. Yeah,
there are 500 in circulation that are held by different people, and they're like, I see a couple of them here. There are some like MOONTIX whales who just like basically will buy any MOONTIX at the price floor very rapidly. So like, yeah, you just got to kind of like make an offer and get there. And then
well,
of course,
shit.
like
Hit me up in my DMs, you whales.
Yeah, holding a MOONTIX lets you in the Mooncake Founders chat, which like gives you access to like some early insights and early alpha leaks. We like tend to tell founders a little bit more about what's going on in the back end on the development process, and like pay a great deal of attention. Like anyone who's holding a MOONTIX, like I said, they have the ability to submit like development proposals or proposals for changes to the protocol, which can be voted on by other MOONTIX holders. So
Well, I'm gonna whale in a little bit more, and then I'm definitely gonna be after a couple of those. That's facts.
Cool. Are there any other questions from the audience? Because otherwise, I think we'll probably like conclude this AMA and get back to building. So. No questions? All right. Well, yeah, guys, if you're in the audience, you're interested in becoming a Mooncake holder, you can go to mooncake.io/buy and interact directly there. Alternatively, you can interact directly through PancakeSwap. You need about 3.5% slippage. And I broadcast all transactions at 15 Gwei right now to prevent anyone from front running me. So that's there, and you're welcome to join our Discord or our Telegram and get some insight into the process and what we're building, and look forward to seeing you guys on the other side. So
if you go, by the way, to mooncake.io/buy and you enter an amount in BNB and you buy Mooncake, the slippage amount and the gas amounts are preset, so you don't have to mess with any of that. You literally just buy and it'll go through.
And that buy page will be getting like upgraded to a trade page with the ability to kind of like generate little like batched orders and stuff like that in the future. So you can like set like a, we'll get it set up so that you can like buy and sell and have your candlestick chart right there, and things like that. So, but for now, it's just like the ability to just like buy without having to set your slippage or gas on PancakeSwap. So.
Very awesome. Well, it was awesome having you guys. Thanks for hosting an AMA with us.
Awesome. Yeah.
No problem.
Thanks for your time.
It was super fun. ET phone home definitely got me to giggle.
All right.
You guys have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.